Hey guys, as we explained earlier, today I'm going to teach you how to make a bracelet. Well, not exactly like this, a little fancier one. One to match this choker right here. Originally I used this bracelet to match this one, but as you can see, not quite a match, is it? And to tell you the truth, whenever I do any art and craft, it's never really going to match because A, I don't worry about things matching like my socks, and B, I use other people's discarded jewelry. So I go to yard sales and I buy this lovely necklace here, had 2 more strings attached to it, cost me 50 cents. Same type of thing with this, but if I bought these as beads, believe it or not, they cost you like $8, you know, so I'm saving like $7.50 for every tool I use. Okay, so what we're gonna be doing is I started prepping all of these little things here. I don't know if you can see the holes. Can you see the holes? Ooh. Yeah? All right, so we got holes were prepped using this machine right here. It's called a hole punch. Big surprise, eh? So the way it works is you put the leather right in the middle and you stamp it down and it punches a hole. All right, so there we go. So I use that. I use special leather scissors to cut the leather. If you don't use leather scissors, it's really hard to cut leather. Like, it's almost impossible. But this cuts through like butter. All right. So, basically, because I'm making a copy of this one here, I actually added this whole crow piece on after I made the choker originally. So, I'm going to adapt it so it kind of fits in there like that. So, that's kind of look a lot closer to the finished product. It's going to be something along those lines there. Okay. So, as you can see, I start off with just 3. So I cut this one piece of leather right here with 3 holes. Now, when it comes to what we're going to use for wire, guys, there's choices. You can use this type of stuff. It's elasticy, bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. Or you can use this stuff, which is fine jewelry metal. I like fine jewelry thread. Okay, it's a metal wire. It's nice, comes in gold, silver. I like using this a lot. It's available at the buck or two for $1.50. Some people like to use fishing line. Oh, it's virtually invisible, right? It's cool, but I don't know. I like to stick with metal. I guess that makes me like cool. All right, anyway, so what I did was I used a guitar string. This is a guitar string that would come off of a guitar. My father's a musician. He breaks millions of guitar strings. So it's really cool because a guitar string has this little piece that they built into it. See that little bead at the end? By using that bead, I can make sure that my wires aren't going to rip through my leather. Like, it's durable. You couldn't, I'm going to try it really. Here we go. Durable. Okay, there's no way to pull this thing through. All right, so what I did was I put my 2 extremely long pieces of wire through the middle of the guitar wire. I made sure that these wires here were cut to be double the length plus some of my wrist. So as you can see, there's more than enough to go around my wrist. Easy peasy. That way, later on, I can just cut off the excess. You're going to need a lot of excess to tie knots, but that's at the end. Okay, now to cut wire, you have to ask your parents before you use any tools, but this is something that you might not have noticed before. Okay, needle nose pliers, they're called that because the tip is very small, okay? But most every pair of pliers has this section right here, okay? It's like a flat edge. On the other side, you see there's a circle with a little flat edge. That thing is actually built to cut wire, all right? So I'm just gonna cut off a little extra guitar string so you guys can see. So ready, and snap. See, cuts wire. Lickety split like butter. I don't know, like butter might be a new catchphrase, I can't decide. All right, so I'm gonna throw on the first couple of beads. All right, so I cut another piece of leather. This is a center strap. It's common in native bracelet making or choker making to use a leather spacer in the middle. It kind of holds all the strings into place. So I got a leather spacer in there. I cut 5 holes in it because as much as it starts with 3, it ends up as 5. So all I have to do is I just have to feed the wire through the individual holes like that to cause a slight separation. All right. Hey guys, you're really lucky you didn't have to watch me put all this together. I dropped it a couple of times. Okay, so for the last string, see, I'm just putting the wire through the little holes. So I'm going to grab one of these. This is actually a bead I got off of a guitar string. The same guitar string, the same thing that's holding it together so tough in the back. I took some pieces off when the strings were cut too small. Or they broke too small, really. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to throw one of these beads on. I just slide it right through. Real easy, right? Then it's common to use these long tubes, all right? Historically, they were made from the small bones of animals, like foxes and wolves. I'm sure I showed you that really cool choker at the beginning of the first video, so you can understand what that's all about. But see, I'm just continuing to slide these beads on, making sure to follow a basic pattern, right? Traditional native art, it would be the exact same pattern the whole way through, like the red and black bracelet and necklace I showed you in the first video. So they like to go with the exact same thing. With me, I like to mix it up a little bit, you know, in part because I don't buy my beads. I buy jewelry and I make my own beads. Or I shouldn't say make my own beads, but you know what I mean. So oftentimes with my jewelry, it's not going to be an exact duplicate. Okay? All right. So, but it's going to be similar. It's going to look cool. All right. So we go like that, and then we're just going to slide through, just like the last time around. We're going to slide through the piece of leather, that little spacer I was telling you about, that keeps all your beads in line. All right, so this is where we're at so far. To be completely honest with everybody, this has been about 25 minutes. So, yeah, don't be upset if it's taking you a little while to get to this point. All right, I'm going to put in the next couple of layers, and then I'll rejoin up with you guys when I am putting on my very last section with the 5 holes for those 5 things. All right. So it's been another about 25 minutes, but I put in another row of long tubes and beads with the little spacers and then the leather spacers. You know what's actually cool? This white leather spacer here was once a piece of a couch, and these 2 leather spacers I had to put together so they're thick enough because, of course, I made a mistake, put the wrong holes in the wrong spot, and ruined one great piece of leather that was nice like this. So this is actually 2 thin pieces of leather that came from a leather jacket that I've repurposed. I've used a lot of the leather, still got some more. Okay, so we beaded them all, just as simple as putting the beads on top of the wire. Poke them through the holes that we've already punched into the other end of the bracelet, and then we tie a knot. We make sure that each section gets tied off individually. This way it can make sure that it stays tight and keeps its shape. You know, the shape is a little warped right now because it's brand new, but when it's all said and done, by keeping it tight up top here, it's going to keep its shape for the rest of its life. All right. So I got my 2 strings on either side. I've already tied knots in the other half. So now each side has had 2 knots tied in them. Okay. And this is where I like to get fancy. This is something I came up with all by myself. Again, I'm going to use these really cool beads that come from the guitar string, and I'm going to slide it onto my guitar string. Then I'm going to take one of my other wires and cross it. So kind of like crisscrossing when you're tying your shoes. Okay, see how the 2 wires went in, one opposite way of the other one? And then we're going to do the same thing over here. Of course, I pulled on my wires, so now I have one wire is a little short because they're connected. But anyway, so we got they crisscrossed, right? See how they all come through? Let's see if I can use the background here. All right, so see I have them crisscrossed and pulling them through. I'm going to get my lovely cameraman to help me out by pulling the middle string. Ooh, look at that. Okay. All right, thank you, cameraman. Let go, please. Thank you. All right, so now my nice little section's all tied together, kinda. So guess what I'm going to do now? I'm going to make a bunch of knots. All right, here we go. Okay, so I'm just continuing to put more and more knots in it. I'm not going to make you watch every single knot. But what I'm trying to do is, overall, I'm trying to get my my knots and my wires going towards the middle, right? That way there's nothing sticking out the side that's going to poke and irritate my skin or anything like that. Because these little wires, it's amazing exactly how bad they can get you. So we're just doing more crisscross knots, guys. They don't all have to go through that middle bead. In fact, I only put 3 knots in the middle bead, and then I put like 5 or 6 on the sides. It's funny. All right, there's that, and one more. So I've gotten 3 more knots in that you guys didn't have to watch. It's hard with my old hands. All right, so now my last set of knots I'm going to also tie onto that middle guitar string. So important to have a guitar string or to have a middle wire. Unless, honestly, if you do a 4-string, it'd probably be a lot easier, but I'm odd. So I like my bracelets to be odd, you know, like an odd number, 5. All right, so you see how I have all these wires all mixed in together here, and it's just one big pile of knots. I'm taking 2 sets and tying them together just to make sure that nothing becomes untied. Because really, when I make these bracelets, I make them once and I'm done. I never have to rebuild my bracelets once they're done. The one bracelet that I showed you earlier, the black and red one, that one was purchased for me, and when it was originally made, it was made with string. And like I said, when it was originally made, it was made with string. I've had to rebuild that one twice since then, and on the second time I gave up on string, moved to wire, and I haven't had to switch the wire out in a year, 2 years? Yeah, about 2 years. Okay, so you see how all our knots are going in towards the middle? Now, I'm going to take this guy here, just send him through. If I can send him through that middle bead again, I will, because that's ultra cool and ultra tight. Let's see if I can get there. Let's see. Ooh. Ooh, is it going to go in? Is it gonna? Oh, it is not going to fit. So that happens. So I'm just going to find a section right on either side of it. I'm just going to weave this big metal wire through so that the guitar string, I should say, not wire, so that this whole big piece is in there, but it's not near the edge, so it's not going to poke out and cut me. All right, now I break out my needles. See, here's some of that leather jacket I was talking about. See, and this is only one small piece of a sleeve. So now I got to cut off all these wires. I got to make sure that when I cut the wires that they're not too short. You don't want to cut them right next to the material. You want to have a little bit of space. See how there's a little bit of room between my needle nose pliers and the knots. That way the knots won't come undone easily. But at the same time, I make sure that the edge of my leather should be able to cover all my wire clippings. That way again, so they don't poke out and get you. I made a choker once and it had a little part that pokes out, and oh, by second recess, it looked like I had fleas. I was itching so bad. All right, there we go. So we got our wire all nicely snipped together like that. We put the 2 pieces together like this, and sadly, I've run out of the proper leather. So give me 1 second. Okay, so this is that traditional black and red bracelet I was telling you about that I had to rebuild a whole bunch of times because it was originally wired with string. Okay, and it's traditional pattern, which is very basic, you know, which is really great, which is amazing. You can see from far away, it really looks great, but you can see there's no difference through the whole thing. There's nothing odd about it. So it's really not a Rain Ravens part of the Rain Ravens collection. It's just a remake. All right, so once I have my pieces all done, right, one side looks nice and neat like that because of that really cool guitar string. And then the other side's a big pile of knots, but none of the wires are long enough to poke me. So you go like that, and then what you do is you actually force these little leather straps through a large bead. They call these pony beads, all right? It's the size of them. So I put the 2 pieces in, and maybe with a little bit of help from the camera person, I'll be able to show you this. So I put on my bracelet in the morning. Oh, I'm tired. Joking. All right, so I put on my bracelet, and it's a really cool locking mechanism. So what you got to do is, cameraman, can you grab onto that piece there? Either one. All right, so what I do is I pull it tight, and then I slide my bead into place, and it kind of locks it, okay? Then you can just tuck it back up underneath the rest of your wrist. Same concept the whole way through. Camera person, can you slide down that bead? Whee! Right? And then over here. All right. So I got all those sections nicely together. And what I would do is I put the loose straps, which are kind of nice. It's a fringe. If I'm going to be going to a nice official event, maybe I would leave those strings out. But for day-to-day use, I take these strings here, and to make sure that it lasts a long time and it doesn't untie, like when I'm going to work, playing recess and everything else, I just tuck those long threads back into the bottom, much like I did this one here. This is the style bracelet. I can't wait until next year. Can't wait until next year when we can actually make a bracelet like this. These are beads I got at Dollarama and a couple other necklaces I broke apart. But see, that's all it takes. This is a slightly different tie, but for this, you actually got to recycle a pair of boots. If you look closely at that, those are those little olets that you have in a pair of boots. These are a big pair of boots, and I just cut them down to size for my bracelet. It's cute. And this is a simpler concept for the kids. One pull and a tuck. But when you're doing fancy jewelry, it's nicer to go with the three straps sent through the pony bead. Make sure to put a knot at the end. If not, your pony bead can fall off really easily. Boom, you know, and then you lost your bead, and oh, that would be horrible. Hey guys, what's up? So I hope you enjoyed this video on how to make a Rain Raven style, traditional style native bracelet. This is the craft we made. See that? Ooh, one more step. Bonus footage. Look at this. I didn't even think of it. All right. So when I was cutting my little leather spacers, I didn't mention this earlier, guys, but when you cut your little leather spacers, just make sure that it's too big. Because when you're ready, what I like to do is I just put my leather scissors right on top of my beads, and I cut straight along the edge. Just smooths off all these edges. Just makes it so that the see, look how big that white one is. Eesh. And there's all the black marking from where I drew my two big lines. Yeah. Let's see. That one didn't come off too smoothly. Here we go. Let's try this again. There we go. All right. See, and I'm just going to trim around the corners like this. But anyway, guys, I've wasted enough of your time. I hope you've enjoyed this. I look forward to making these with you guys next year at the school. And hey, if you ever managed to make a couple of these ones, show them to me. I'm dying to see what you guys do.